Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Yanks the Cop. Today we are doing our special show. We're going to be doing live team reaction and a kind of a short preview of the Liverpool versus Burnley game. So today I'm joined by really special guests. I've got John Gibbons from the Anfield Wrap. Good to see you, John. How you doing?
Great, thanks for having me.
Perfect. And I've got Dave at LSC Chats. How you doing, Dave?
Oh, good. Absolutely great. Anytime to talk about the Reds, I'll be here.
Perfect. So, this is obviously the massive game. There's a lot of pressure after Chelsea beat Leicester yesterday 2-1. How are you guys feeling about this game? Because I've seen that there's been a lot of kind of mixed feelings on the internet from different fans in terms of how they're feeling about the game. How are you feeling about this game, John?
Nervy, to be honest with you, just because there's so much riding on it. It's funny with Burnley because if you look at the record, we've actually got a pretty decent record going there recently, but it just sort of feels the opposite, doesn't it? It feels like it's a tough place to go and you know about their strengths and how it might hurt us. So nervy because it's Burnley, even though, we've won the last few times there. Nervy because of how much riding on it. We were all watching the game last night and aware of what a win means to us and means to our season. And nervy because this is what this Liverpool team have done for us this season. There's been highs and lows. There's been Alisson last-minute headers, but there's been 7-2 defeats and everything in between. And so, yeah, you don't know quite what you're going to get tonight, and that brings a few nerves as well. So, yeah, nervous.
I feel that. How about you, Dave? How are you feeling?
I'll second exactly what John just said. I mean, nervous. We're like in the Grand National here. We've two more fences to jump. You know what I mean? And we've been coming up strong in the last few furlongs, and I'm just hoping we can get over this fence tonight. Burnley, as John said, we had a good record at Turf Moor. At home, we were not so good in the last two games. So I'm just hoping we put in a performance tonight. We should be too good for Burnley. I'm just hoping that's exactly what we do.
So obviously Burnley are guaranteed to avoid relegation. They're quite safe. So are you guys expecting Burnley to be on holiday mode, or are you feeling that because there's fans in the stands, they're going to be up for this game and they're going to be, we know Sean Dyche doesn't like Klopp and he's not been a match fan of Liverpool in general. So, and it's also it's awful playing Burnley, the style of play. So, what are you guys expecting from Burnley? We'll start with you again, John. What are you expecting from Burnley tonight?
Yeah, look, they'll look at who we've got at centre half, and they'll look at the inexperience there, and they'll look to exploit that. So I'm expecting, a very Burnley performance. A lot of balls into the box, very direct, and they'll try and ruffle up Phillips and Williams and see if they have any success that way. So I think there won't be many big surprises from Burnley, but I think they'll be up for it. You mentioned the fans there, mate, and that's a big thing. It's not quite as many as what we're going to have at Anfield on Sunday, but it's still your fans, it's still people cheering you on, and it's still a big incentive to go out there and play well. So obviously they got beat 4-0 at home at the weekend, but I think this will be a very different performance. We rested a few at the weekend as well, rotated a few at least, and so it'll be a stronger Burnley team in every sense, I think, tonight. And I think we're just gonna have to make sure that we're at it from the off to beat them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. What about you, Dave? How are you feeling about what are you expecting from Burnley?
They're going to be dangerous on free kicks, corner kicks, and stuff like that. They're big lads. They're that's their battle mode, isn't it? It's going to be a scrappy game, I think, tonight. Probably only going to be a goal, a 2-1 or something like that. Hopefully on our side, we need the 3 points, of course, but it's going to be a tough game. I mean, I was worried about the West Brom game, and I was rightly worried about the West Brom game. And I'm worried about this one tonight, but I think Klopp would be ready to go. I mean, this is like a semi-final of a cup game, really, isn't it? I mean, it's like a semi-final. You win this, you're into the final on Sunday. So I think Klopp will be saying that the mentality has come out in Liverpool in the last few games. Old Trafford 4-2, of course. The Alisson Becker epic Superman header deep inside injury time. You know what I mean? So I think our mentality is starting to show. Players are starting to get better. Like the likes of Trent starting to play now. I just think we need to take our chances, lads. We've made a lot of chances this season. Haven't taken them. We'll get chances tonight. I think it's just key we take our chances tonight and we'll beat them. We take our chances, we beat them. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just going to go in the chat. Alan says, hi, guys. Good to see Alan. Helen, good evening, Helen, as well. Good to see you as always. Alan, always nervous. I'm terrified. Internet's playing up just before you play too. Ginny says, Evening Reds, man up Wahomey with the power panel. Yeah, we've got a good panel tonight. Helen says, hi Wahomey, hi Dave, and hi John. Hi Ginny, good to see everyone. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think my concern is the fact that West Brom had some good chances against us, that I think Burnley would take given the same chance. And I feel like, West Brom, we know how they're obviously going to play. They're going to be lots of long balls and balls in the box. And my one concern is obviously them targeting, Reece Williams, and obviously if he's capable of kind of winning, I've got no problem with Nat Phillips. I think Nat Phillips will head anything away and he'll love the physical side. But are you concerned over Reece Williams' ability to deal with the physicality of Burnley and deal with kind of like pepper balls into the box that we're going to receive from them? Start with you, John.
I think you made a really good point, mate, about the chances, mate, because, we all enjoyed, the finale of the West Brom game, but, you need to remember, I guess, that they did have some chances. They had a really good one at 1-1, and obviously one in the back of the net that got disallowed, but another really good opportunity that Alisson needs to be smart for. West Brom has struggled for goals this year. Burnley have got good forwards. Chris Wood's, he's broke 10 again in the Premier League. I think it's the third or fourth consecutive season. It's some going. Ashley Barnes has obviously caused us problems, not least at Anfield this year. So whoever they go for, Jay Rodriguez, there is good finishes in there, and they might not get loads of chances because of the way sort of Burnley play. But if there's a chance there, they're more likely to take it than those West Brom forwards are. So I think it's a really good point you make there, and I think we need to be more on it at the back that we were at the weekend, and hopefully they can be. But it's about stopping the supply as much as anything, isn't it? And if we feel like the centre halves need a bit of protection, it's almost about, well, how can we stop those balls coming into the boxes frequently? How can we stop them getting set pieces, as Dave says, in dangerous places, and just making sure that we're a bit smarter, really, and we try and protect these defenders as much as they can, because, like you say, that if not, they will try and target Williams, and he'll have a tough night.
Yeah. How do you feel about David? Are you concerned about Williams in terms of him dealing with the
obviously concerned a bit. I mean, Williams is been thrown in. He's done well in the last few games, to be fair to the young lad. He really has. I mean, who would have said we'd have Phillips and Williams for the last 4 or 5 games of the season? Like, you would have said, I'm joking. Like, come on, let's be real. These two boys wouldn't be anywhere near the first team. I'm not slagging them off. I'm just saying that's the reality. If everybody's fit, they've done unbelievably well. Especially Phillips has really done well. Williams, I'm actually not too worried. I think he's grown. He's grown in the last few days. He's learning from his mistakes that he made in the cup game against United, where he was slaughtered, and he had a good game at Old Trafford last week. So I think he's okay. Him and Phillips are starting to get a little combination going there, little partnership. Obviously, they're going to cause us problems. As I said, your man Woods is a big fella, a big old-fashioned sort of striker. He's good in the air. If we can keep him quiet, I think that's half the battle. If we can keep him quiet, it's half the battle, and we win it. As I say, we don't want balls into the box. But I think Phillips will head anything out, won't he? But I'm a little bit worried. I'm worried about the game full stop, but I think we'd be okay. As I said earlier, it's all about taking our chances. We take our chances. We play football. We play our game. We will win. It's as simple as that.
I think that's a good point. I think I saw a good statistic. I think it was showing that how Burnley, I think they've got 25.5% success rate aerials, so they're number one in the Premiership. I think they're 13th for set piece goals in the Premiership. I think we've got more than them on 17. So I think it clearly shows there that, obviously where Burnley's dangers are going to come from. They're not one that's going to score many open play goals. It's going to be ones where they're relying on long balls in the box with, Tarowski and some of the big lads they've got. So, yeah, I think you're both right in the sense that we are going to have to defend much better and make sure that, we cut off those supply lines. So, obviously Trent and Rob are going to have a big job in terms of stopping that. So obviously we've seen with Liverpool how we rely on our fans big time in the stands, So Burnley are going to have a proportion of fans tonight. So is that going to play a part in any way in terms of deciding this game? Because of I remember when we had I think like 2,000 or 4,000 fans against Spurs, how huge that was for us, and how we played some of our best football for a long while. because of the fans in the stand. So we'll start with you, Dave. Like, do you feel that's going to give Burnley like this energizing energy to come out and say, look, we're going to give our fans our last showing, and Burnley are in the potential of doing a double with Liverpool, which they've not done since I think it's 1929 or something. So there's incentivized there. Obviously we know there's no love lost between Sean Dykes and Klopp. So how do you feel that the impact of even like, I don't know how many fans, it's 2,004.
Many is it 5,000 fans today? I'm not sure how many, but it's not a huge amount.
Yeah.
But listen, your fans at your stadium, your home stadium, can only be a positive for the home team. Let's be real. And it'd just be great. But it can also be a positive for Liverpool as well. You know what I mean? Having noise in the ground, proper noise, instead of listening to the bench shouting like at a Sunday league game. I think it can work both ways, and I think it'll affect the game in a positive way, but not in a negative way for Liverpool. We can use the crowd as well, even though it's their home crowd. You know what I mean? So I just think it's a positive all around for the whole game, the football game itself. I don't think it'll affect Liverpool at all.
How about you, John? How are you feeling about the Burnley having fans in the stands?
Yeah, I agree with Dave, that obviously it'll help Burnley, but I think that Liverpool will buzz off it as well, because we've been playing in largely empty stadiums all season. There was those few games that you've just mentioned there in December where there was a few in for Liverpool, but largely empty ground. So I think they'll be on the bus, to the ground, looking forward to having some in. And, it's not enough of a crowd really for it to be a hostile atmosphere. Obviously, it's enough to, I'm sure that the Burnley Burnley players will hear them and appreciate it. But I think for us, we'll enjoy the noise as well. And, we've got a few showmen in our team, haven't we? Not just Dave I'm talking about here, but, the likes of, Mane, Firmino, who want to put on a bit of a show in front of a crowd that have probably missed it. So maybe we'll see a little bit more out of, those boys tonight. Obviously, Mo Salah, going for golden boot and, been on fire all season. And so I think, I agree with Dave. I think our players will relish it. Our players will enjoy it. And they'll want to put on a bit of a show. And they know what they need to do as well. The output is obvious. The end game is there. The finish line's in sight. And they know what they need to do tonight. And so they'll be fully focused. But I think, we'll get a little bit of something themselves from the crowd as well.
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat, do smash that like and subscribe button you haven't done and help us get this content out to more people. Going back to some of the comments in the chat, Helen says the Spurs are losing 2-1 to Villa. So that obviously doesn't bode well for the final day of the season for us in terms of expecting anything from Spurs against Leicester. Obviously, Everton are winning 1-0 against Wolves. Newcastle winning 1-1 against Sheffield United. Arsenal drawing. Ginny20 says we have to start the game on the front foot and get a couple of early goals on a good night. And Helen says, I agree that Burnley will park the bus, I think. So when we look at the game, like obviously against West Brom, we went a goal down early. I think Burnley are a bit more stronger defensive output than Burnley. Is that a concern if we go a goal down that we can't, I know previously we were very good last year, Mentality Monsters coming back from losing positions. Like, is that a concern if we go a goal down against Burnley though, to expect us to come back? Or are you confident we can stage another comeback? How are you feeling about that, John?
I agree with you. I think they need to start stronger than they have been recently. I don't think you can keep going a goal down and just expect to turn it around. Obviously, they have done the last two games in the last week, and that's been great. But I don't think you can keep expecting that to happen. And as you say, mate, Burnley, you feel will be better at shutting down a game, stopping a game happening, than maybe West Brom, where, and especially playing at home, and you'll start seeing all the tricks. You'll start seeing, a little bit of time wasting from the keeper, and maybe the few of those fans in the ground keep it hold of the ball and things like that. And so they'll be pulling out all the stops to sort of disrupt Liverpool best they can. So I'm hoping for a much stronger start from Liverpool than what we've seen over the last few weeks. I'm hoping to see them at it. I'm hoping to see them, determined to make life difficult for the opposition rather than just have them make life difficult for us. Because, you can't just keep assuming that 1-0 down's no problem because one day it will be. And so hopefully that's not today. And hopefully we don't have to test it because we'll be taking the lead in the game instead.
How do you feel, Dave? Are you concerned if we went a goal down to Burnley that we would struggle to come back because of them being a much more stronger defensive output?
Yeah, obviously you don't want to go 1-0 down in any game, especially away from home. We've done it. We've done it the last 2 games. We've gone 1-0 down and we've recovered brilliantly. But as John said, you can't keep doing that. It's hard to do. No matter how good a team you are, it's very hard to recover. You need at least 2 to win the game then, and you're always on the back foot. So I think we've got to start strong. First 10-15 is always important away from home. Try get an early goal just to calm the nerves and calm the crowd for the first time. There'll be a bit of a crowd there. But I wouldn't be. Listen, this team, as I said to you, we've done it before. They're going to give us a few heart attacks in this game. That's for sure. That is for sure. So if you have any dodgy heart, don't watch this game. Basically, is what I'm trying to say to you. But I'm confident. Actually, the team is out. I don't know whether you've just seen there, but the team has just been announced. But I'd be confident. No, I'd be confident. I'm just hoping we don't go 1-0 down. I'm hoping we go 1-0 up. But I think we'll be okay. I just seen the team. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, so the team needs to have just come out. So just going to confirm that. So obviously Liverpool's Alisson in goal, Nat Phillips and Williams at centre back, Robertson left back, Trent right back. Then also midfield with Gini, Thiago, and Fabinho. Then Salah, Mane, and Bobby up top. And our substitutes are Nico Williams, Billy Kometo, Divock Origi, Curtis Jones, Adrian, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Shaqiri Milner, and Tsimikas. While Burnley's team is Will Norris, so no Nick Pope's huge for us.
Ooh, yeah.
Tarowski, Ben Mee, Matthew Loughton, Charlie Taylor, Ashley Westwood, Josh Brownhill, Jack Cork, Jonathan Gudmundsson, Dwight McNeil and Chris Wood. And the subs are Jay Rodriguez, Bailey Peacock-Farrell, Matej Fard, can't spell his name properly, Farida, Ashley Barnes, Richard Narty, Jimmy Dunn, Eric Pieters, Anthony Driscoll, Glennon, and Lewis Richardson. So when you see that team sheet, are you guys surprised that Milner's not starting? Or do you think it was too soon for him?
John,
yeah. How do you feel about the lineup?
I'm not surprised that Milner's not starting now. I think, he's had an injury, obviously, so it's great to see him back in the squad. I don't think the manager would have necessarily put him straight back in. He's a very useful option off the bench as well, isn't it? Whatever, we need, whatever outcome we need, whether it be closing out a game, as we all hope it is, or kind of, pushing for the winner. I think he's useful. And so I think, I wouldn't have started Milner. It's pretty much the team I expected from a Liverpool point of view, to be honest with you, mate. Yeah. I thought that the Wijnaldum would come back in after a rare rest at the weekend, and I thought it'd be for Jones. We just looked a little bit tougher, don't we, with Wijnaldum and for Jones, that a little bit more, a little bit stronger in midfield against a team that, you would expect to bring the battle against Liverpool. And so, it's the team I was expecting, but a bit of a stronger bench this time out than last game, which is good, should we need it.
How about you, Dave? How do you feel about the lineup?
It's a predicted lineup. Gini in for Jones. He came on in the last and looked good when he came on. He needed a rest. As John said, we don't have many options anyway. It's either going to be Milner or really Gini, wasn't it? But as you said, Milner was carrying a little injury. So Gini straight in. He's got the experience. It looks like he's going. It could be his last game on Sunday, but there'll be no doubt Klopp trusts Gini in there. It's a nice little midfield of Fabinho, Thiago, and Gini, and the front three amigos up front. So we should be okay.
Hey, Sophie. Yeah,
certainly.
That's okay. Yeah, so obviously, Nick Pope not being there is huge because he's, I would say, England's best keeper. But I think we often seen this season when goalkeepers come against us, they end up becoming like Buffon and putting on a worldly performance. So, is there a fear that Will Norris, John, is going to pull off a worldie tonight and just save everything?
I'm with you, mate. You've always got that fear, haven't you? I can't remember who that Newcastle goalie was this season. I'd never heard of him before, and he had a great game. It feels like going back years. It's always kind of been the way, but I think you've got to try and be logical, even though, our mindset is, this guy's going to, as you say, may turn into Buffon. But I think you've got to try and be logical and say that he is a drop-off from Nick Pope. Nick Pope, as you say, is a great keeper, one of the best in England. And, has been a huge goalie for them sort of over the years. And this guy, looked a bit ropey at the weekend, and is sort of reserved for a reason. And so I think you have to try and be positive from a Liverpool point of view and say, it's a good thing. It's gives us a bit more opportunity to sort of win the game and try and put out those memories of these goalkeepers suddenly saving here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, generally I think you've got to be logical and say it's a positive for Liverpool.
Yourself, we're just talking about the lineup. How do you feel about, obviously, the Liverpool lineup's been, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty much the same team. Pretty much the same team. The only change is Gini for Jones, really. Well, that's the exact same team as we had against West Brom. But obviously, the big thing for us is that Nick Pope's not playing for Burnley. So how are you feeling about the lineup? Do you agree with it? And how do you feel, obviously, Bone having Nick Pope is going to be intense for us getting the win tonight?
Look, we've said it, and we don't have the greatest depth at the minute anyway. We've got like a very paper-thin squad. This is the best that we could do. The only thing I wanted to do originally was Milner over Gini, but Milner's on the bench, so it might just be the other way around. I'm happy with the lineup. I mean, the lineup, it is what it is. It's the best we can do right now, and it's served us well the last 2 games. So happy days kind of thing. Nick Pope, we knew he was out anyway, but I'm not putting too much stock in that because we have got a very bad history of going up against keepers. Should be absolutely nothing, and they pull out like prime Buffon, experiences against, and you just sat there going, what? So I'm not holding out much stock that the Burnley keeper's going to do us any favours today. I'm really, really not, because I just know at some point we're going to get like a wonder goal, and he's going to do like this magic backflip save where he like volleys it out himself and scores his own goal from it, just to piss us off, really. So Nick Pope or not, it doesn't make it any easier for me, to be honest, because if this season's anything to go by, it's not normal, is it? Like, freak results are happening all the time. Just look at the City game yesterday. So,
Before coming to you, Dave, just going to read some of the chats here. Helen Raybert says Milner makes the bench with Ox. Ginny says Milner on the bench equals 3 points. Chris Welch says evening Reds, another win needed nonetheless. Chris Welch says hopefully we smash them over the pitch. Physical team. And then 1892 Red Podcast, good to see you boys, saying no Pope tonight. So Dave, how do you feel Nick Pope is going to be in terms of being crucial, him out tonight and us getting the 3 points? Does that make it easier for us? Or do you think that galvanizes Burnley to put full performance?
Well, he's a top-class goalkeeper. He usually pulls off miracle saves for a Pope. He's probably in the Vatican now tonight watching the game. But obviously, as I said, he's a top-class goalkeeper. So it's great not to have him on the pitch. But to be honest, I'm just, for me and Klopp, I'm sure he just wants to concentrate on Liverpool and what we can do. What we can do to hurt them, what we can do all over the pitch. He loves the analysing of the whole thing, I'm sure. And I think that's it. What we do tonight, I'm only concerned with what Liverpool do tonight. If we do it right and do what we're meant to do, we'll win the game, no matter who's in goal.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's the key. That brings me to my next point. Obviously, one of our big issues this season has been our striker has been not prolific enough. Except for Salah, the others haven't really, maybe Jota. Yeah, Jota has actually, but the others, in terms of Bobby and Mane, haven't hit the normal heights that that we normally expected of them. Even against West Brom, we saw at least Bobby miss a good chance he really should have scored, and then Mane missing a chance. And it doesn't feel as if even when they do score in games that it boosts their confidence overall. They still go on the next game and look as if they are struggling in front of goal. Now, of course, obviously it's great that Salah's going to go for the golden boot. He's continuing to score, but goal difference might come into this at the end of the season in terms of top 4 qualification, So is that a concern to you, John, the form of Mane and Bobby in terms of being clinical and taking a chance tonight that do come along? And will it come back to bite us in the butt if, let's say they miss a few chances to really win this game 2-1, could win about 4-5, at the end of the season, you look back and think if Mane and Bobby had taken that chance, we'd be in a much better difference in terms of goal difference. Is that a concern to you in terms of the form of both of them going to this game?
I think in terms of the goal difference, I think that's maybe not one to worry about until Sunday. I think, tonight it's all about getting the win. It's a tough away game. we want to get those 3 points and then see where we're at Sunday. If goal difference becomes a factor on Sunday, then we've got our own crowd, haven't we? We've got the Cop, and we've got sort of 10,000 to hopefully do what they've done over the years and do what they've done plenty of time, which is suck a couple of goals in and do the best to kind of, improve that. So I don't think goal difference needs to be a factor tonight. But obviously, generally speaking, Bobby and Manny, you wish that they were in much better form going into this game and going into a crucial couple of games. But as I said before, I'm hoping the crowd kind of lifts them a little bit. They're entertainers, aren't they? The showmen. And, I was lucky enough to be at Anfield for the Tottenham game and where Bobby scored the winner and he ran the length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the Cop at the other end. And I think he likes a crowd, doesn't he? And he he likes to no-look goals and the flicks and things like that. So we might see a few of those tonight. Maybe they've just been missing the audience, like so many of us performers. And so I think you might get a bit more from them tonight, I'm hoping. And when the chances come, they take them.
John, we've all spoken it before on our channel, but just from your perspective, why do you feel that Mane is struggling so much this season? Because he looks to shadow the same. I know someone put a tweet a few weeks back about how actually Mane is making the same kind of sprints, runs, and there's not much of a massive difference in terms of, the amount of shots or runs he's making. But in front of goal, it's obviously a massive clear that he's missing. I think he's missed at least well over 11 big chances this other season. So why do you feel that there's been such a drop-off? Because I know people might say they've been running to the ground, the amount of games that Salah, Bobby, and Mane have. But then how come Salah's not running to the ground? He played almost the same amount of games as Mane has, but you've seen Salah still shining, but Mane is clearly struggling. Like, what do you guess is the reason why he's struggling so much? And are you the thing that Mane's done, as some people are claiming, that he needs to be sold this summer? Or are you thinking that actually that's just he needs a summer's rest and he'll be back next season?
Yeah, I'm hoping a really good rest will sort him out, and I'm hoping that's what he needs. He's had a long time without one, really, with various sorts of competitions and things like that. And when you look at the sorts of summers he has, he always seems to have been playing. So I'm hoping a summer off will do him the world of good. I think Mane and Salah's, in very different, personal situations as well. Mo has got family and kids and really sort of close to them in a different home life. I think Sadio, is still a single guy. And I think, you've got to remember that these guys are living in pandemic situations, and maybe Sadio was someone who was more used to getting people over or going home and visiting people and just hasn't been able to do that. And I think, happy person is off the pitch is often a happy person on it. And I think for Sadio, not just Sadio, but a lot of these footballers, we need to remember that the young guys, the thousands of miles away from where they come from in a lot of different in different situations, and it's been a strange period for lots of us, really. And so I think it's a tough year to make any big judgments on any human being, really, and any footballer, and that's the case for Sadio or any of the others, really. We know what these guys have done for us. We know the champions, we know the warriors, and we know the brilliant footballers who've given everything for Liverpool and have shown amazing quality. And I think the speed to write them off is a shame and also wrong. I think, let's wait and see. And, if Sadio is obviously still the same next year, then the manager will have a decision to make. But I don't think he'll be looking to do anything rash. Look, if it feels like, maybe we have to sell someone to rebuild, then that's a different situation and a different conversation and something that the manager will think about. But I think he'll be just looking to add. I think he'll be looking at what we've got and saying, well, actually what I need to do is, maybe get a bit more competition so I can rotate these guys a little bit more, or maybe add a bit of a quality so we can, not as, reliant on certain individuals or having to play a little bit deeper because the defense isn't as strong and things like that. And so I would imagine that the manager's thinking about other solutions rather than selling these guys, any of these guys who've been fantastic for us, and maybe not looking to do any sort of wild conclusions based on what has been, as I say, a very difficult year for anyone.
So yeah, Dave, John's made some good points there. Like, are you concerned about Bobby and Mane in this game in terms of them being clinical, or you think it's just a matter of trust of them that they will come good tonight, as John said, they're performers?
well, obviously they need to come good and score a goal, but it's performance as well. I think is important. Bobby's performances have been getting a little bit better without the goals. You know what I mean? He's looking a bit more, a bit of swagger about him. I'm not as worried even about Bobby more than I am about Mane. I don't even know if Mane knows what the problem is himself, to be fair. I mean, I think he went to see a few specialists recently. It could be even psychological. I don't know. It could be mental. I don't know what it is, but he's a forward. He needs to score goals, and all forwards want to score goals, and that is part of his cure. If he can score goals and maybe get a performance in, rather than lying on the ground or hitting the grass or, this type of blaming the world rather than this type of thing. So I'm looking for 2 big performances in the next 2 games from Mane. I think even if Mane plays well tonight, we win the game because Salah's been on it. Let's be fair. So if you have 2 in front 3 playing well, there's a good chance you're going to win the game, any game. So I think it's key. If Mane is a good game tonight, I think we get the 3 points a lot easier than it would be. I want a big game for Mane tonight.
And how about you, Sophia? Are you concerned over their performance, or you just feel like it's just a matter of trusting in them to, pull a rabbit out of the hat again tonight and get a goal?
I think you've got to stand behind the boys, really, haven't you? Regardless of whether you think their performance is the best or it isn't, you've got to stand behind them when it counts. And we can sit here and we can pull Mane's performance all season apart. We can pull everybody's season apart. Nobody has had a fantastic season this year at all by any stretch of the imagination. So, no, I'm not worried about their form because it'll come and go. It's the world of football, and we've got to remember that these players aren't robots. These players are human beings. And you said before yourself how Salah, he plays the same games as Mane, but Salah doesn't seem to lose his intensity. Salah doesn't seem to lose this form. But let's not forget, last season Salah lost his form for quite a good number of games, a couple of months on the trot, and he got it back. It happened. But just because Salah this season hasn't dropped in form per se, doesn't mean that Mane shouldn't have either, because the physicality is different. When you take into account the physicality of our squad and who's the fittest player, our 35-year-old midfielder, James Milner, is technically the fittest player. He's got the biggest stamina out of everyone on that pitch. But you wouldn't put him in, your quickest players. You wouldn't put him in that category. So, no, I'm not concerned. I'm just going to stand behind the boys and hope that they put a good performance in a shift. And you know what? Even if Mane doesn't score tonight, but Mane is all over the pitch and he's putting in a good performance and it results in other people getting goals, then that's what's important to me. Yes, I want the goals by every stretch. I want the goals. But if he can be, a pivotal point as a team to, us end up getting those goals, then that's fine by me. I'm not really bothered if he scores 3 goals, 4 goals, or he just assists one, or he makes a good pass that then results in an assist for someone else. It's about the performances and the link-up. Because our final third has been really dodgy in its finishing because the decisions in that final third haven't been accurate. And I think it's not about the shooting ability because we know that our boys can shoot. I think it's the decision-making leading up to that. It's the short passes. You see them, they're passing each other short. They're too heavy on the ball. I don't know what type of ball they're used in practice, whether it's made of lead, but these seem to be like flyaways at times. And you think, where the hell is that going? That's just hit the Eiffel Tower, mate, because that's just gone way out of the park. I don't know. I think you've just kind of got to stand behind the lads tonight, and what will be type thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Going in the chat, Chris Wells says, I'm just disappointed that Alisson isn't starting up front today. Love Chris.
Good.
Chris says, we need to win our games. Leicester will beat Tottenham, no problem. I'm feeling that way. And he also says that let's hope Liverpool give us a lead at the end of the season by finishing in the top 4. Chris Wells said he'd love a Sadio Mane winner. Going into the game, where do you guys feel, we'll start with you, Dave, where do you feel this game's going to be won and lost in terms of the outcome of this game?
Well, the midfield's always important, and away from home especially. We got to control the midfield because it will control Burnley. It'll stop them creating as well. But I think it's up front wins the game because you score the goals. I think if the front 3 play anywhere near the level we've seen in the last 3 years, I mean, that's that'd be good enough for me. Salah can carry his form. He wants top goal scorer. with Kane breathing down his neck. He wants top. So I get a big game of Salah tonight. There's no doubt about that. But as I said earlier, if Mane steps up, even up to 70, 80% level, Mane level, I think we'll win tonight. And it's just taking our chances, lads. The amount of chances we have in games, we just don't take our percentage of chances. If we take our chances, we win the game. Simple as that.
How about you, Sophie? Where do you think this game's going to be won and lost?
Honestly, I think we just need to be clinical. We need to, like Dave just said, we need to take our chances. It's all well and good as sitting here saying, "Oh, we need to control the midfield. We need to cut out their defence. We need to, keep an eye on Tarkowski and set pieces." It's all well and good saying this, but we can do that till the cows come home. But if we don't capitalise on our chances, it makes no difference, does it, whatsoever? So I think it is literally all about just controlling the game and making smart choices and smart decisions and playing really creative, fluid football. None of this sitting back. It needs to be quick, triangular passes. Keep them constantly on their toes, because bring them out. We know Burnley are going to sit back. Draw them out. Make those gaps, because they're going to put 2 banks of 4 in. Try and make those gaps and cut through them. And then just when we get through them, just be clinical. That's the main thing for me. You've just got to take those chances, and you've got to capitalise on any chance you get against Burnley today. That's for me. That's where it's going to be won.
How about you, John? Where do you think this is going to be won and lost tonight?
Yeah, hard to argue. Really about the the need to be sort of clinical, and I think that is a big thing. I'd also add to that, not giving them too many opportunities to get dangerous balls into the box, and so we know what they'll want to do. We know how they'll want to target us. So be that in midfield, making sure we're pressing the ball, making sure we're not letting them sort of pick their passes, they're not letting their midfielders look up and see Chris Wood's big head and sort of find these floaty balls into it, make sure we're right in their faces, making sure we're not giving away too many dangerous set pieces. So being careful with our tackling in certain situations. Look, they'll want to be sort of, getting dangerous free kicks in wide areas. So making sure we're not giving them anything soft, really, not too many corners, and just being at it, really, just letting them know that we're up for this one. Letting them know that, they're in for the game, and they're going to have to, get through us if they want to get at these centre-halves who they'll probably want to target. And so, yeah, clinical in their box, but also kind of making sure that we're in their faces, we're stopping anything coming in, and, yeah, we're protecting that back line best we can.
Yeah, I think that I agree with all of your points that you made, in the sense that, we are defending well as a team and also being clinical, because I think that's kind of been throughout the season. We've been two sides of a coin at times. In terms, sometimes we defend well, we're not clinical, and then sometimes we're clinical, we don't defend well. So if we can have a good performance overall, then I think we should get the 3 points. So just going to go on to who do you think is the key player for Liverpool tonight? We'll start with you, Sophie. It's going to get us the 3 points.
Key player for me tonight is Thiago. Thiago, we've seen him come through, and he's been the difference for us against low blocks. He's able to cut in, like I said before, a hot knife through butter. That's the analogy I like. That's the analogy I'm sticking with. He's able to find those little pockets of space. He's very, very clever about it as well, and he's going to be the difference for us today. If he can make those gaps through, that allows our forwards to be ahead of that bank. He just needs to make all the right decisions, make those clever passes, those crosses in, allow Trent to run up further, put those out swinging passes in. I think the game's going to be pivotal about Thiago's performance for me.
How about you, John? Who do you think is going to be the star player tonight?
I'm hoping for another big performance from Trent. I think he's been excellent recently, man of the match performances, in the droves, if you like, and he's been such a big player for Liverpool. And if he can do the same tonight, and if he can be on again tonight, then there's going to be chances for these forwards, isn't he? So I think if we're talking after the game about another big performance from Trent Alexander-Arnold, then we're talking again after the game about another big Liverpool win.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
I'll stick to what I said earlier on. I think Mane's got to step up to the plate tonight. I think if Mane steps up tonight, he hasn't really done it all season. And I'm hoping in the last 2 games, starting tonight, that he steps up. If he steps up tonight, Salah's been on his game. I think we'll win probably by 2 clear goals if Mane can step up and get us. And that'll load of confidence going into the Palace game. So Mane step up tonight. I think that's the big one for me.
I think for me, I think of the style of play we're going to come against Burnley. I think Nat Phillips has to have a good game, because I think obviously he's been aerially dominant. So if he has a top game and he is clearing all these balls away, then I think we're going to be in a good stead for the night. Just going to chat here. Helen Raber says Arsenal gone 1-0 up to Palace. Cedric says, "Hey Yanks, David John, yeah, good to see you, Cedric." Liz Golden says, "Let's effing go." Ginny says, "All in a bit, yeah, thanks. Good to see you, Ginny. We'll see you later." Alan Holloway says, "And Southgate doesn't like Trent, so good rest for him end season."
Yeah, well, Gareth Southgate can wipe his own tears with his waistcoat, can't he? Because he take that absolutely as Eddie makes. Actually, he can take his collection of waistcoats and he can fuck off back down there and leave Trent alone if he's going to be that much of an arsehole about it. He can feck off.
Okay.
I can't bear him. How can you look at Trent at the performances he's had and then go, no.
I think you speak there for most of us how we're feeling, Sophie. So,
I'm absolutely buzzing that Trent's not going, because I'm just sat there going, all right, sound. You're saying the best right back's got less chance to be injured. Happy days. But then I'm also sat there going, hang on a minute, why don't you want the best right back in the world? What is wrong with you? Did you fall on your head or something? Not bad, didn't he? Probably not bad.
I'll be there. Everyone else, do smash that like button, subscribe button if you haven't done already, and help us get a shout out to more people. The one thing Chris was going to ask is, obviously today our bench seems to be much more stronger in terms of what we can bring on. But obviously in the West Brom game we saw Shaq come on and he didn't have much of an impact. So is there a feeling that realistically in this game it's going to be 11 on the pitch at starting and they have to win the game for us, and we can't really look at our bench for options? Because I think Oxford is coming back from injury, but when he has come on sometimes this season, he hasn't really done anything. So Origi, I can't remember the last time Origi had a good game for us. So is there a feeling from each one of you that it's going to be 11 that have to win this game for us tonight and not look to the bench? So we'll start with you, Dave. Is that how you feel about the bench?
Yeah, I think the starting 11 is the strongest 11 he's going to put out there. So that's the team that's got to do the job. If we're relying on the bench to win us the game, starting now, and you're saying to me the bench is going to win us the game, I think we're in trouble. We've got the 11, the best players. Klopp thinks so. We could pick the 11 ourselves out of that team. If you mix them all into a bowl and you're picking them out of a hat, that's the 11 you'd pick, isn't it, guys? So if that 11 has to do the job for me tonight, okay, you can get someone coming on like Origi or Ox or someone that comes up with a wonder goal, but that's hedging your bets. I'm hoping we're not hedging our bets here. I'm hoping the performance is put in, and the only way we're bringing on these players is to close out the game. That's my hope tonight, not to come on and get a winner and then being desperate. So yeah, the starting 11's got to do the job. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about you, Don? How do you feel about? Are you confident in the bench in doing stuff? Because obviously sometimes, like I said, the bench hasn't really offered us much. Come off the bench in matches.
Yeah, I think. Look, if we're looking to the bench for the goal, then I think we're going to be struggling, aren't we? I think there's a few on there who can maybe come on and offer some fresh legs or a bit of solidity or anything like that. But if we're struggling for the goal, then Divock Origi hasn't shown much. Hasn't got a Premier League goal to his name this season, and isn't in any form at all. Really, you're looking, and Divock's thrown a few surprises at us down the years, hasn't he? But he's, as I say, not coming into this with any sort of form. And the same for Chamberlain, really, not a huge amount of recent form from him. I've still got hopes of Chamberlain having a decent Liverpool career, but I think in terms of this season, I think Klopp will be looking to rely on the guys that he's got and the guys that he knows. And that's pretty much the guys who were starting from today, and then maybe one or two others. So Shaqiri, I think, has had a decent sort of season since he sort of come back in. I take your point about last game; it didn't really work out for him, but generally speaking, he's been a good option for us off the bench, I think. And Milner, what he's able to do. So there's two there who can do something, but the firepower and the goals have got to come from those starts, and let's all hope it does.
Yep.
What about you, Sophie? How are you feeling about the bench?
Bench is better than we've seen it in recent games, definitely. I can't see Origi coming on and doing anything worthwhile apart from walking up and down the pitch and just putting footprints in the grass. I can't see Shaqiri coming on apart from running around like a little power cube and doing nothing. I can't see Ox really coming on and being like, we haven't really got anyone who can come on and you trust to score a goal, like a big impact goal scorer. So our front three for me have got to be solid. They've got to do their job today. There's no one. We haven't even got Jota. There's nobody who can come on for them. The only thing when I look at the bench is I see Milner and Jones. And if we are getting to, say we're winning, 70th minute, bring Milner on. He will hold that line in that midfield. That's the role he will do, and I understand that. If we need a goal and we're chasing a goal, please don't bring Milner on. Please don't bring Milner on. I swear to God, if he brings Milner on at 65 minutes and we conceded, I will throw my TV out the window. But I think our starting 11 has got to do the job today. But like I said, the only plus side when you look at that bench is Jones and Milner. If Jones come on, he offers fresh legs, he offers speed, and he's worked with the team a bit. But last few games, when we've seen him, has he done anything worthwhile? Probably not. So the bench looks better, but I wouldn't say that it's better enough for me to be looking at it going, oh yeah, we can bring them on and they're a game changer. It's kind of like the lads have just said, if you need fresh legs, you just bring one of them on. There's no
I think I agree. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think we are having to look at the starting 11 to win us this game, and it's going to be a big ask. We're looking to the bench to bring anything different. So let's move into predictions. John, what is your prediction for this game?
I'm going for a Liverpool win, and I'm feeling good about that. I think it'll be a bit nervy one, maybe another 2-1, but hopefully not a 2-1, which is a last-second Alisson header, maybe a 2-1 that sees us go maybe 2-0 up, and then them concede, then score a bit later to make Dave gasp like that. I think that's what I'm going for. So a 2-1 Liverpool win, but a 3-1 would be lovely and make us all feel a little bit better.
Dave?
Yeah, well, I was going to say 2-1 like John there. Obviously, a few goals would be nice for goal difference and stuff. Just gives us that little boost, that little cushion going into the Palace game, because there's a good chance it could come down to. But I think the main thing is just to get the 3 points tonight. We'll worry about that goal difference and stuff like that at Anfield on Sunday. But tonight is getting over the line, getting the win, getting the 3 points. I'll say 2-1 like John. Mane and Salah actually tonight. Nice.
Yeah. Sophie?
I'm going to go with what I was sticking with, and Alan has decided he's going to agree with me here. I've said 3-0, and I don't do predictions. Like Dave and Wahomey know that I never do them, because we're at the end of the season now, I don't give a crap anymore. And for some reason, I don't know why, when I was asked on Doug's channel a couple days ago what I thought was going to happen, the first thing that came out of my mouth before I thought was 3-0. I don't know why. I don't know who I think scored them. I don't know where I think it's coming from. But I'm just going to stick with my convictions, because if I change my mind now, it won't happen. So 3-0.
I take 3-0, big time.
Anyone would take 3
I think I'm going for. I stick with the 2-1 I said the last couple of days. So I think it's going to be another roller coaster of emotion game. Just going in the chat. Alan Holloway says 3-0, so he's agrees with Sophie. Helen says 3-1. Chris Wells says good to see Simicus decided to arrive after his birthday house party at Ben Davies. Cedric Lopez says agreed, Alan, hopefully. Chris Wells, Kate is still on the Liverpool hospital bed. I take it. I don't know. He's gone for a 2-0 Liverpool win. Okay, so to wrap up, what we normally do here now, John, is we end off with a bit of trivia time.
Oh my God, we're doing it.
So just end on. Doing it today. Yeah, end a little high. So the first question I'm going to ask everyone is, would you rather be the best player on a really crap team or the worst player on a great team? Start with you, John.
I've been the worst player on a good team before, and it's really good fun. It's really good fun. They drag you up to a level, and you can pretend you're part of it. So I'll go with that one.
John? What's it, Dave? Sorry, Dave.
I've actually been both, but
which did you enjoy more?
It's always great being the good player on the crap team, because you go back to the pub after, they're all chatting about, oh, he scored a lovely goal, didn't he? We'll buy him a pint. Free drink. But that was only a 5-a-side team, by the way, John, so it wasn't a proper 11.
Safe?
I thought I had my answer, and then I thought about it a little bit more. Part of me wants to be like the best player on the shit team because I'm competitive, and it'd be like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread, like type thing. Like Dave said, you'd be the one that everyone would be bragging about, going, oh, look how good they are. But then the idea of being on a really good team and having to do barely anything and still getting the rewards for it just sounds like an easy life, doesn't it? So I think I'll go for being the worst player on a very good team, considering the fact that I can't kick a ball straight.
I think for me, I'll go for also the worst player, because I was that kid in school that would be on the best player, showing off, but with really crap players around him. So I prefer to be the worst player in a great team to win stuff. The next one, what's one unique thing about you that people would never guess? We'll start with you, Dave.
Say that again?
What's one unique thing or unique skill about you that people would never guess that you have?
I can see through people's clothes.
That was too good an opportunity not to do that.
Believe it or not, that's all I'm going to say. John?
I think that's too hard for Dave, because he is possibly the most truly unique person I've ever met. And I'd say that as a beautiful compliment to my friend Dave.
What's yours, John?
Oh, I don't know really. I feel stumped on this one. I don't know what to do. I think I'm maybe the only person who's performed on stage with both with John Barnes and Carl Kennedy from Neighbours. I think maybe I'm the only person in the world who's done both of those things.
Sophie?
I am a classically trained dancer.
Oh, wow.
People might not, I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of that people might not know about me. But yeah, I was a ballroom and a Latin dancer from 5 to 18. And was hoping to go pro until I damaged my hip. And then can't dance no more.
Oh, wow. I'm a salsa dancer, so that's a unique thing that people don't know.
Whoa.
Oh, I know what me and Wahomey are doing when he comes to Liverpool and we get drunk.
Pop world.
And the last one.
It'll be a pop wheel for something else. It won't be for cha-cha dancing.
Okay.
The last one. What is the weirdest food combination you've had the last 2 years? Start with you, John.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I feel like in lockdown 1, when everyone was panic buying everything, there must have sort of, I don't know, been something that I tried. But I don't really. I'm a pretty safe eater, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure I've got any anyone for you. Come back to me. I'll have a think.
Dave?
You're stumping me here. A toilet roll sandwich in lockdown. In lockdown.
You know what? I actually want to put that past Dave as a dare.
No,
but
do you know what? It's something I do like, but if people are looking at you and it sounds weird, but you know, when you're away on holidays, like we can all dream of being away on holidays, sitting beside the sea in Portugal or Spain or wherever it is like that, and you're sitting down and you're eating pasta marinara, you know, with the seafood through the pasta. You know, but my little girl would look at it and she thinks there's snails crawling in the pasta, so she's nearly getting sick, and I'm eating it there like this. But it's weird for her, but nice for me.
Okay, Sophie.
I don't know. I'm kind of like John. I'm sassy again. I'm a really like plain eater. Like I don't go out with comfort zone. I don't sit there and look at an ingredient and go, oh, I'll put that with that. I just kind of go, I like spaghetti bolognese. Like I don't know.
That's a
No,
hard
I
question,
haven't got
Jim.
anything.
That's a hard
I'm
question.
blank. I'm trying to think of foods that might be weird and
I
nope.
think that the answer to this is me and Sophie need to get a bit more daring. I think that is
We need
the
to go and
answer.
eat something proper, don't we?
We need to start branching out rather than eating the same meals all the time. There we are.
Yeah.
We've all learned something.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Come on.
I think my one was, well, I had a spoon of my friend's. She was having water and cereal. That was the weirdest thing I ever had.
Wow.
She pours water in a Coach cornflakes instead of milk, and I was like, okay, that's
Jesus.
one water.
Oh,
So I had a spoon of it because it's nasty. So
that's like putting. Oi! Eat your biscuit and shut up.
So, Sophie, I like hot dogs as well. They're lovely. Bit mustard.
I like biscuits. But you're not having my dog. No, I need to. No. Oh, I'll be really. Sorry.
no. Okay, well, I think that's a good point to wrap up. Everyone in the chat, you've been amazing as always. Do smash that like button if you haven't done, and also subscribe if you haven't. It's been a pleasure, everyone. John, it's been a pleasure having you on. Really appreciate you coming on and taking the time out. Dave as well, appreciate you coming on and taking the time out.
No problem.
Me and Sophie will be here next for our live watch along, and then we also have the post match straight after the game. So do stick around and join us on those. Otherwise, everyone else, let's hope Liverpool get a big win tonight and we're all celebrating. Otherwise, up the Reds, and we'll see you all soon.